Good morning, I'm Layla Harris from CraftyLayla.com, and I'm a close to my heart independent consultant, and I want to show you how to make some fidget spinner cards. These are the 3 cards that I have a kit made up for, and I'm going to walk you through making the round one and give you some pointers on making the rectangular or long slot one as well. So all 3 of these I did on my Cricut. This is a SVG file that I found online, and I have a link to it on my blog post. And then this are 2 circles and a rectangle that are attached in a design space file. So you can download this file and upload it to your own version of this design space file and go ahead and cut. I can't share SVG files in design space, so I can't give you a complete version. So this is how they work. They're really quite fun, and with the rage of fidget spinners, this is the perfect summer birthday card. So I do want to note that these are really thick, so they aren't appropriate for mailing because you'll have to pay parcel postage, and that starts around $2.61 or something. So these are ones to hand out. Besides, you want to see how the recipient responds. Here's one. It's black and green, and it goes back and forth. This was the first one I made, and I thought that was pretty good, and then I remembered I had a file for the round, and I really like it because it moves pretty well. This is our Little Dreamer unicorn paper. That's in the current Seasonal Expressions 2 catalog, and not everybody likes unicorns, and not all of these cards have a perfect circle and that. So let me show you the other side of the paper. This is just a confetti design that I really like, and you can see it's pretty much the same elements. I did put wiggle eyes on this one because we were goofing off last night during my workshop, and I just thought it was kind of fun, and they're nice round smooth dome shaped embellishments. So, and it makes a little bit more of a noise similar to a fidget spinner when you spin this one. So as you can see, these can be for any type of occasion. I have a magical day, happy birthday, and have a happy day stamped on the kits that I'm selling. This one can be flipped over the green part so that you don't see the happy birthday, so that you can stamp something else, or you can leave it as is. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to assemble this round fidget spinner. After that, I hope I can remember to show you a couple of the older spinner cards that I made over the years. So the first thing that we're going to do is grab 2 pennies. I had a nickel out last night because one of my friends had hers a little off center and it didn't work quite right, and if it is, you can use a nickel because it's a little bit bigger of an area, so if the fidget spinner is falling out of the card, you can try to fix it that way. We ended up just double mounting some foam, and I don't know, it just worked better. So these are foam circles that are 3/8 of an inch in diameter. So first we're going to make I call it an Oreo sandwich. Doesn't really matter which side of the coin you use. You're not going to see the coin at all. So at this point, you could assemble your fidget spinner, but I like it to be just small and compact and easy to use, because what we're going to do next is we're going to put the foam tape. There's foam tape or foam squares in between this layer and the base layer so that the penny mechanism will spin freely. And we need to cover this entirely on the back. I like to have this out so that I kind of have a guide to tell me, okay, I can't get any foam any closer than that to the edge of the circle, otherwise the spinner will catch. This is our 3D foam from Close to My Heart. It is the regular standard thickness. It's about 1/8 of an inch. We have a thin version that's not appropriate for 3D spinners. So this is the wider of the 2 rolls, and what I'm going to do is, I always have a lot of this foam left over from workshops, but of the wide version, I'm just going to cut it in half with my micro tip scissors that are non-stick. They won't gum up because of this non-stick coating on them. So we can put it like this. And again here, making sure that we're not going to bump up. This gives it a really nice feel in the card because it's not going to squish and dent if the person plays with it. And I guarantee you that this card that I made for my son's birthday earlier this month is the most enjoyed card he's ever received. So when he comes and asks for it back after a workshop, I know he's enjoying it. So, and you don't have to completely cover the whole card, so I'm actually going to just put in strips here and space them out. You can also tear it with your fingers. So, there we go. Now we just pull the backing off and attach it to the lagoon piece. This piece here is 5 by 3 3/4, and this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. I didn't go 4 inches on this piece because I'm cutting it on my Cricut, and my Cricut will not cut 3 pieces of 4-inch paper across one width of the paper, but it will do 3 3/4. I was able to get 6 of these pieces cut from one sheet of cardstock or pattern paper. So, okay. I'm doing this without trying to block the camera, so it's a little harder because I usually get up over top of it. Okay, so there we have it. It's pretty even. Now this is going to be included in your kit, and you want to keep it even though we're not going to use it. If you really like this side, you can glue it down, but it's mainly used for a guide. You really want this circle to be as centered as possible in the center of this large circle, so that the spinner moves as well as it can and doesn't slip out. It's not the tight areas I'm worried about, it's where it gets too wide. So this circle is 1 inch smaller than this circle. So if you have a set of dies, you can go ahead and use those and just use washi tape to hold them in place. And that your circle might be a little bit smaller than these, but it will still work. And pay attention to the pattern so that you get it up, right side up, and add it there. So now you can take this out and discard it. And now I'm going to assemble the fidget spinner portion. And to do that, I just glue these 2 layers together. I cut this 2 layers thick for 2 reasons. One is I like the contrast of the 2 colors, and second is that when you're playing with this, if you're going to flick it with your finger, you need the 2 layers to be a little bit more sturdy. So I'm going to grab my non-stick mat that was on my other table, because that is one of the best ways to glue this down. So if you use Easy Dots or any dot adhesive, this one is what we carry in the catalog right now, and when you do it over this type of non-stick mat, anything that's not sticking to the paper runs up the reel and into the waste, and so you don't have webbing and you don't have gunk everywhere. So there's very little adhesive showing through. And there's no mess on my mat. It's not sticky either. These mats are great. They're a little bit of an investment, but what I did was I cut mine in half because it was so big that it was getting bent. And so I have 2 of them, one out in my living room, dining room area for crafting at the table, and then I have another one here in my craft room. And they printed close to my heart on the back side of it, and we always wondered why, and then we realized, well, literally nothing sticks to this mat. So if they're going to put a new logo on it, they're going to have to put it on the back. And that's just fine with me. So it's about 20 inches long if you have the whole thing. So it's huge. So now I have this assembled, and we can go ahead and embellish it now. since it's flat on the table. These are the enamel dots from Close to My Heart that are sticking around for another year. And they are a white and black package. These are the largest ones. Even the medium-sized ones in this set work nicely for these fidget spinners. So I like them. They're shiny and have a nice gloss. Now I'm going to use another circle. You could actually just use a chunk of this foam too, but I don't know, it's just easier to do the circles. And attach this. So now you can see it's 3 layers. You want to use 3D foam here instead of just a glue dot, because you don't want this to drag on the top surface of the paper, especially if you're going to have any type of embellishment on it. Learned that the hard way. So now I'm just sticking it in the lower track, and then I'm bending my card a little bit, and it will slide into the slot. And we can test it to make sure it spins. The last thing we need to do is have a magical day and a piece of shimmer trim. So what I did for this one was I dovetailed it. Actually, I cut it down a little bit and dovetailed it. I snip through the center, and then I go from each corner up to where I snipped. That center snip is helpful to determine where is the center, because once you get it turned sideways, it's hard to identify how far to snip. And that. So, and for this, I could either cut it diagonally like I did earlier, or I can snip it either way. So if this hasn't had its sticky removed, I can just, or its backing removed to make it sticky, I can just do this. So, but I do have to say it's a little bit of a trick getting the backing off now that it's dovetailed. But I do have a little trick for that. I'm going to use this piece of paper as waste, and I'm going to put a piece or a bit of adhesive on it. And then, I don't know if you can see the blue, I'm going to lay my shimmer trim in the middle of the adhesive. So there's adhesive here all the way down to here. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm gluing the backing down. And then I can peel this off just quickly. So I'm going to move this down a little further to not cover up that one beautiful little unicorn. And now, let's see how far down it is. That's pretty good. I'm going to reach over here and grab a piece of 3D foam. That's our thin 3D foam. Sorry, I disappeared and you probably didn't hear me. This is our thinner 3D foam. It's really good for card making because it's about half the thickness of our regular 3D foam. And I like to use it when I'm gluing to uneven surfaces like shimmer trim. And I love using it on standard cards because it does allow them to be nailed. So I just tore off a little piece off the roll, and it's not usually this hard to get it off the backing. Okay, so here we have it. Have a magical day. This is from the stamp set that coordinates with the Little Dreamer paper pack. It's called the Little Dreamer card making stamp set. It has the unicorns and it's really adorable. And it also says birthday wishes with a banner outline stamp. So now I just need to mount it to a card base. And one of the things I've learned in making these is I don't want to put adhesive on this because it's bumpy and lumpy and you could potentially dent it. So I'll just do it here. And 3 stripes of adhesive has been really plenty for this card. This is good adhesive. Even with regular Tombow dots, I've had good luck with 3 long stripes of adhesive. So that's it. That's my fidget spinner, or fidgety spinner card, as I accidentally typed in Instagram when I did a video of them. So let me show you some other ones I've made over the years. This one I made last year, and this was one of my first ones I made with the circle, and this was the Penelope paper pack. And this was just a vellum embellishment, and it had a nice dark circle here that hid the 3D foam, so it didn't show through. And that this was I mounted with thin 3D foam tape, and it was a little bit problematic. I actually have a really thick circle here, dot, to lift it up higher, and occasionally it still catches. So if you're going to put embellishments on it, make sure they're really flat. This is the first card that I created that was a spinner card. This was a stamp of the month from, what, goodness, like 4 years ago, 2013. So it was a pinwheel stamp set, and this was my husband's birthday card. And I found it on his desk because we never throw anything away, especially things that are decorative on our desks. I had to put it back together because the adhesive had dried up on that piece, but otherwise that was still there. And I made one of these for my father-in-law too, and he had a good time using it. But now it's fidget spinner craze. So I hope you enjoy this video, and keep following me for other videos, and let me know if you make one of these cards and post it. And you can find me at Crafty Layla on Instagram and on Facebook. Have a good day.